Hello, friends. If you have received a letter from the Social Security Administration telling you that you are overpaid, or if you are worried that one might be on the way, the next few minutes could protect your monthly check from being reduced to zero without any warning at all. Starting March 27th, 2026, the Social Security Administration reinstated a policy that allows SSA to withhold 100% of your monthly Social Security check to recover an overpayment debt. Not 10%, not 50%, 100% of your entire monthly check. Gone until the debt is fully recovered. For a retiree receiving the average Social Security benefit of $2,071 per month, that means waking up on payment day to find nothing deposited in their account. And this is happening to millions of Americans right now because the Social Security Administration issued $6.5 billion in retirement and disability overpayments in 2022 alone and $4.6 billion in SSI overpayments the same year. Before we get into it, subscribe to this channel right now and turn on the bell. Changes like these arrive without personal letters and without reminders. The people subscribed here find out while there is still time to act. Subscribe now and let's get into it. Let me start with why overpayments happen, because understanding the cause tells you immediately whether you have grounds to fight it or whether you need to negotiate. The first and most common cause is earned income above the annual limit while collecting Social Security retirement benefits before full retirement age in 2026 if you are under your full retirement age. For the entire year, the earnings limit is $24,480. For every $2 you earn above that limit, SSA withholds $1 from your benefit, and they calculate this at the end of the year after you have already received every monthly check. That timing gap is why overpayment notices often arrive months or even years after the earnings that caused them, and why so many recipients are caught completely off guard in the year you reach full retirement age. The earnings limit jumps to $65,160 for the months before your birthday, and once you reach full retirement age, there is no earnings limit at all. The second cause of overpayments is unreported life changes, and this one catches more people off guard than almost anything else. If your income changed, your living situation changed, your marital status changed, or the number of people in your household changed, and you did not report it to SSA, the difference between what they paid you and what you should have received becomes an overpayment debt. The third cause, and this is the one that makes recipients the most frustrated, is SSA's own clerical error. In 2026, staffing shortages across the Social Security Administration have led to significant clerical errors in benefit calculations, and when SSA makes the mistake, they still send you the bill. Former SSA Commissioner Martin O'Malley described the overpayment recovery system as, and I am quoting directly here, clawback cruelty. In a 2026 Senate hearing, one retiree who was notified of a $58,000 overpayment, an overpayment she did not cause, had her monthly benefits reduced to the point where she could not pay rent. That is the real-world consequence of not knowing your rights when that letter arrives, and that is exactly what this video is going to fix. When you receive an overpayment notice from SSA, you have three options, and the one you choose, and when you choose it, determines whether your check continues or stops. Option 1 is to appeal, meaning you believe SSA got the numbers wrong, or you believe you're not overpaid at all. To appeal, you fill out Form SSA 561, the request for reconsideration, and you must file it within 60 days of receiving the overpayment notice. But inside that 60-day window, there is a smaller window that is far more powerful, and SSA is not drawing your attention to it. In the letter they send you, if you file your appeal or waiver within 30 days, not 60, but 30 of the date printed on. The overpayment notice, SSA, cannot begin withholding money from your check while your case is being reviewed. Your check continues at its full amount while SSA reviews your case, and reviews can take weeks or even months. That protection disappears the moment you pass the 30-day mark without filing anything. Option 2 is to request a waiver, and this option is available even if you agree that the overpayment happened. A waiver means you are asking SSA to forgive the debt entirely, not reduce it, not spread it out, but forgive it completely because the overpayment was not your fault and repaying it would cause genuine financial hardship. To qualify for a waiver, you must show two things. First, that the overpayment was not your fault, and second, that repaying it would prevent you from covering basic living expenses like housing, food, clothing, or medical costs. To request a waiver, you file Form SSA 632, the request for waiver of overpayment recovery. And unlike the appeal, there is no deadline for filing a waiver. You can file it at any time. If the overpayment was under $2,000, the SSA may accept a simple phone request for the waiver without requiring you to complete the full written form. Option 3 is a repayment plan, and this is the right option when you agree the overpayment happened and you want to pay it back, but you cannot afford to do it all at once. Under the 2026 rules, the default withholding rate for new overpayments is 50% of your monthly benefit, which for the average recipient means losing over $1,000 every single month until the debt is paid. But what SSA is not telling you in that withholding notice is that you do not have to accept 50%. You can negotiate a lower amount. You request a lower rate by submitting Form SSA 634, and SSA can agree to any amount, including as low as $10 per month, as long as you can show that your income is genuinely needed for basic living expenses. To support that request, bring documentation, rent receipts, utility bills, grocery costs, medication expenses that shows exactly where every dollar of your monthly income goes. SSA must accept any repayment rate that still leaves you enough to cover those basic expenses, and they cannot legally force you into a plan that makes you choose between food and repaying a debt that may not even be your fault. Now let me give you the exact step-by-step sequence to follow from the moment that overpayment notice arrives in your mailbox, because the order of these steps matters as much as the steps themselves. Step 1. The moment the notice arrives, read it the same day. Do not set it aside for later. The 30-day protection window starts from the date printed on the letter, not the day you open it, not the day it arrived, the date on the letter. Step 2. Look for these three things in the notice: the amount SSA says you were overpaid, the time period during which the overpayment allegedly occurred, and the reason SSA gives for why the overpayment happened. If any of those three numbers or dates seems wrong to you, or if the reason they give does not match what you know happened, that is the signal to file an appeal on Form SSA 561. Step 3. Decide which of the three options applies before day 30. Write your decision down, then act on it before you sleep that night. If you're within the first 30 days, Step 4. Submit your form or call SSA at 1-800-772-1213 within 30 days of the notice date. When you call, write down the full name of the representative, their employee ID if they will. Give it and the exact time of the call. Step 5. If you mail anything to SSA, your completed form, your financial documentation, your supporting evidence, send it by certified mail with return receipt requested. Keep the receipt. That date stamp is your legal proof of when SSA received it. Now let me tell you about one more protection that most people receiving overpayment notices have never heard of, and it could make the entire debt disappear. That IT is called administrative finality, and it is a rule built into the Social Security Act. that limits how far back SSA can go to collect on a benefit determination they already made. Under this rule, SSA generally cannot reopen a benefit decision that was made more than 4 years ago for Title II benefits, meaning retirement benefits and disability benefits. For SSI benefits, that look-back window is 2 years, meaning SSA generally cannot collect on an SSI overpayment that originated from a decision made more than 2 years ago. There are exceptions, most importantly if SSA can show that the overpayment resulted from fraud or intentional misrepresentation. The 4-year rule does not apply, but if the overpayment stems from a calculation error that SSA made with no fraud on your part, and the original decision was made more than 4 years ago, you may be able to argue that the collection window has legally closed. This is not a guarantee, and it is complex enough that you should ask SSA directly about the date of the original decision if your notice involves a very old overpayment. Now let me address the one mistake that causes more harm than any other when people receive an overpayment notice, ignoring it. If you receive an overpayment notice and do nothing, if you set on the table and tell yourself you will deal with it later, here is exactly what happens next. After 30 days with no response, SSA will begin withholding 50% of your monthly benefit automatically, no additional warning, no second letter, no phone call first. After 90 days, if you still have not responded, that 50% withholding becomes permanent until the full debt is recovered. And in cases where SSA determines there was fraud, even if you believe the accusation is wrong, they have the legal authority to withhold 100% of your benefit until you respond and the matter is resolved. Additionally, if you are no longer receiving benefits, SSA has the legal authority to withhold your federal tax refund, garnish your wages, and refer the debt to the United States Treasury for collection. So here is the complete picture. Starting March 27, 2026, SSA reinstated the authority to withhold 100% of your monthly Social Security check to recover new overpayments. For SSI, the standard rate remains 10%. That if you receive a notice, you have 3 options. Appeal with Form SSA 561 within 60 days if the numbers are wrong. Request a waiver with Form SSA 632 at any time if the error was not your fault and repaying would cause hardship. Or set up a repayment plan with Form SSA 634 at a rate you can afford. Filing any of those options within 30 days of a notice date stops all withholding while your case is reviewed. That 30-day window is the single most important deadline in this entire process. Do not let it pass. SSA is not going to call you to remind you. They're not going to send a follow-up letter. The notice that arrives in your mailbox is the only warning you get. Now you know what to do with it. Subscribe. Share this with someone you know on Social Security, especially anyone who has received an overpayment notice or is worried one might be coming. And I will see you in the next one.